It was almost as if we saw two different Oklahoma teams in 2020. The team that started the season was not the same as the team that finished the season. I had some guys that came back from suspension, and you just saw this team get better and better all year long, especially with quarterback Spencer Rattler. It was just a different team at the end of the season. And they were probably one of the four best teams. And that's what I said. I thought that they really deserved to make the college football playoff by winning the Big 12. But looking ahead to 2021, this is the most complicated roster that I have looked at so far, because you got guys leaving, you got seniors staying, you've got a bunch of transfers leaving, you got a bunch of transfers coming in. It's just crazy how this roster is going to change. I don't know what that is going to mean for 21, but we're going to try to break it down for you and give you my best guess as to if this team will be better or worse. Starting at quarterback, Spencer Rattler will be back, and he will be the guy. If he goes down with the injury, though, who knows what's going to happen. Tanner Mordecai and Chandler Morris both transferred out. The good news is they have a five-star freshman coming in, Caleb Williams, and also a transfer quarterback from Penn State. So I think they'll be okay there. When you look at the running back position, very interesting. They lose Stevenson. That's a big loss. Again, we saw the impact that he made when he came back in there. They also lose TJ Pledger, who transferred out. But Seth McGowan, who's a freshman last year, he will be back. Also, Kennedy Brooks will be back. And we're talking about going into last season, this was a top 5 running back in the country. He opted out. He's coming back. Not going to the NFL. No, he is coming back. And that is going to be really good for Oklahoma. But not only that, they also bring in the transfer from Tennessee, Eric Gray, who is maybe a top 10 running back himself. So this running game has a chance to be really good for Oklahoma in 2021. We go to the wide receiver position. It's interesting to me that Charleston Rambo decided to transfer, because he was, getting playing time. He was one of the top receivers on this team. I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but they do bring back their top guy, Marvin Mims, who really emerged last year. Also, Trajan Bridges will be back. Drake Stoops, Theo Weiss, and Jaden Hasselwood, who was injured last year. He played a little bit, but this is a guy that has the talent to be a top receiver in all of college football. So the receiving position looks really strong for them. No real issues there. Austin Stogner will be back at tight end. That's big for them as well. And then Braden Willis, Jeremiah Hall, the kind of hybrid tight end, fullback, H-back, whatever you want to call them, they'll be back. So offensively, this team should be in great shape at those positions. Now, the offensive line, they do lose Adrian Ely and Creed Humphrey. Both are gone to the NFL. Those are big losses. I mean, we're talking about two really talented offensive linemen. Creed Humphrey, arguably the best center in the country. And also, EJ Ndama Ogur, another guy that played center for them, he has transferred out. So you're losing 3 guys on the offensive line, 2 starters. And so that could be a little bit of a concern, I think, for Oklahoma. They do bring a transfer in, Wanya Morris from Tennessee. This was a former 5-star guy. So that is an immediate boost, and probably a guy that can, kind of take over from Adrian Ely. But they had some really good players on this offensive line already. Some young guys. Eric Swinson, he was a senior. He's going to be coming back for another year. So I'm not really concerned. I thought, 2 deep wise, Oklahoma might have had the best offensive line in the country last year. So again, losing some guys I don't think is a big issue. So overall, when you talk about this offense, they should absolutely be even better in 2021. Now, the defense is something that really came on late in the year and got a lot of attention. What are they going to look like? Well, up front, they will lose Ronnie Perkins, of course. He came on and had a great finish to the year. That's a big loss, but LaRon Stokes will be back. He was a senior. Good to have him back. Also, Isaiah Thomas, who was kind of a breakout last year at defensive end. He will be back. And also, Jalen Redmond, who opted out. He is coming back. He will be returning next year. So I think the defensive line will be fine. You also have Winfrey in the middle there. He will be back also. So the defensive line again should be very strong for Oklahoma. Maybe the strength of this defense. At linebacker, John Michael Terry and Robert Barnes transferred out. Those are going to be big losses there. Or not huge losses, but they'll miss those guys. But Caleb Kelly, the guy who can't seem to stay healthy, he will be back. He will take advantage of the extra year of eligibility. And this is a very talented guy. I mean, some people maybe kind of forgot about him because he's been injured so much. But if he can stay healthy, that is big time for them. Also, Deshaun White will be back. Nick Bonito will be back. So I think the linebacker position will be okay. I think they'll be fine. I don't think they're going to miss Terry and Barnes very much. Again, not huge impact players for them there. So the linebacker position, defensive line should be pretty strong for Oklahoma. And then we go to the defensive backs. I think the biggest loss for this team is going to be at cornerback, and it's going to be losing Trey Norwood and Trey Brown. Both guys will be gone. These are two really talented corners. They are going to miss them. They do have Jaden Davis coming back, though. That'll be the good news for them. And then safeties, you got pretty much everyone coming back. Radley Howells, he transferred out, but for the most part, I think the secondary should still be pretty strong. They brought in a transfer, Key Lawrence, defensive back from Tennessee. So again, an area where they're replacing guys with transfers, and it's just crazy to me how many guys, and I didn't go through the entire list, but how many guys transferred out, but then also how many guys transferred in, plus you add in I think the number 11 recruiting class in the country according to 24/7 composite. So when you add all that together, you look at the young guys, the young talent that should be better, especially when we talk about Spencer Rattler. He really grew up last year. When we go back to 2020 and we say, will this team be better or worse? It's kind of a tough question because they won the Big 12 championship last year. It was a good year. But again, it was almost like there was two different teams. If we're talking about the team that we saw the first half of the year that blew a couple of games, I think this team absolutely is better than that team. The team that finished the year, though, that looked really, really good, are they going to be even better than that? It's hard to say. But overall, when we look at this team and we look at last year's team throughout the entire season, I think it's safe to say that Oklahoma will be even better in 2021. The team has plenty of talent coming back, some big impact transfers coming in. And for Oklahoma, it should be another Big 12 championship. The only question really is going to be the college football playoff. Can this team make it all the way back to the college football playoff? Because I think they are going to be better, and I think they're going to have a great opportunity to do that. So again, much better, or maybe not much better, but better in 2021 for Oklahoma.